then I'm going to talk a little bit about the criminal justice system in Harris County. Because I'm going to tell you, when I talk about what I'm going to talk about, I believe this community, that is a generous community, it's a God-fearing community, it's a loving community, that believes in second chances, that believes in restorative justice, but it's also a community that doesn't want to be victimized and re-victimized by violent criminals. There's a big difference between low-level offenses, nonviolent crimes, and violent crimes, and when we talk about that later, you'll know why we're a little bit amped up. Because this afternoon, our police officers had to put themselves at risk. They had to put their careers at risk. They had to put their lives at risk. This community was at risk, and we're going to find out that it is at risk of the brutality of an armed robber that's on 3 years deferred adjudication for armed robbery. And if one of these people was killed here today, we can go to that judge, we can go to the DA, we can go to whoever was involved in giving somebody, robbing people at gunpoint, deferred adjudication. We only have 5,200 police officers in this city for 640 square miles, and we have to protect this community. But everybody has to be on board. And as long as I'm the police chief in this city, my mayor brought me here, Sylvester Turner, to be smart on crime, but do not confuse being smart on crime and kindness with weakness. I have been talking to the mother with two daughters in a drive-thru that were terrorized this afternoon by a guy on 3 years deferred adjudication for armed robbery. And people want to know why we have a problem with her 15-year-old daughters and a gun pointed in her face. Our community deserves better. Our cops deserve better. And today I give thanks to the courage of the men and women of the Houston Police Department, and I give thanks to God that no innocent lives were lost, and I even give thanks that this suspect that could care less about anyone else more than likely will survive to live another day. So we didn't do him any favors when you give him a deferred adjudication going around committing armed robberies. Didn't do him any favors. So let me just tell you what happened this morning. About 6:50 a.m., a carjacking occurred. 6:50 a.m. this morning, a carjacking occurred in the area of Bissonnet and Kirkwood. Taken at gunpoint was a black Honda. Now our West Side Crime Suppression Team is aware that in the last couple of days we've had a rash of carjackings in this area, so they do what they do best. They went out looking for these carjackers. At 2:58 p.m., our West Side Crime Suppression Team spotted the vehicle taken this morning, the black Honda, in this area. They called for their marked unit. The marked units tried to initiate a traffic stop, and the pursuit ensued. The pursuit lasted for about 2 to 5 minutes and terminated when the suspect vehicle crashed, hit a curb, flattening its tires in the area of Bissonnet and 59, right around the corner. 2 male black suspects immediately exited the vehicle. The driver was actually taken into custody without incident. The driver was armed, but guess what? He complied, and he's en route to jail. He was not shot, thank God, and no officers were shot. Once they took that suspect into custody, the officers, along with a member of the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, which is a great partner here in the city of Houston that does some great work along with our federal partners, were out looking for the second suspect. When they spotted the second suspect, that's this Burger King back here that you see right behind you. That suspect, who's 23 years of age, male black, on 3 years deferred adjudication for robbery, attempted to carjack more than one vehicle out here, and at one point went and tried to carjack a woman with her 2 15-year-old daughters, daughter and stepdaughter, in the back seat. He opened the door to her car and said, "Get out," pointing the gun at this woman. This woman, realizing that she had her daughters in that car, tried to stall because she's in fear for her daughter's safety, and took her time getting out. She finally got out. The suspect tried to get in the car, and we have reports that he did not know how to drive a standard or stick shift, got frustrated. We also have reports that after that he came around while he was carjacking them. That's when our ATF agent with our West Side crime suppression team officers pulled up. They gave him commands to drop the gun. He did not. They fired several rounds. He then took off again after he could not get that car, ran inside the Burger King that was occupied with employees and customers, terrorized them with the gun in his hand. They went in pursuit of him inside that restaurant. He ran through the restaurant, came back out the door, and then when he came back out the back door, he was engaged by one of our officers from the West Side crime suppression team that engaged him and struck him. Both officers from the West Side crime suppression team had body-worn cameras. Both cameras captured the officer's actions. And I'm most proud to say that this individual, despite the rash of violent crimes he was engaged in, despite the fact that he endangered people, the first thing you're going to see after one of the officers, the first thing you're going to see once he goes down after he is shot, you will see our officers secure him, and you will immediately see members of the Houston Police Department start rendering emergency aid to the suspect. One of my shooting officers who I've talked to, he still has blood on his hands from applying a tourniquet, a field tourniquet, to the suspect wound. One of his wounds, I believe, is around the leg area. We will be investigating this like we always do with our Internal Affairs Division, who will conduct an administrative investigation. Our Special Investigations Unit, with the assistance of the Harris County and other, with Harris County DA's office, Civil Rights Division will conduct a criminal investigation. And as you can imagine, we're a little upset because it's like Groundhog Day around here. It's Groundhog Day. Here we are with our community at risk by an individual that has no respect for the sanctity of life, has no respect for authority, and this young lady's in here, 18-year-old kids trying to make a living, are terrorized because somehow in Harris County we have the judges and sometimes the prosecutor's office thinking it's okay to give deferred adjudication to armed robbers. I don't know about you, but I live in Harris County. I don't know about you, but I live in Houston. And I don't know about you, I care about the people that we serve. And the people that are being most impacted by this violent crime is communities of color. And disproportionately, communities that are being impacted by violent crime is black and brown communities that are already victimized by the socioeconomics of this country, and we don't need to victimize them because we're not holding violent people accountable that are acting the fool out here and shooting people and shooting children. We had a little boy shot a couple of weeks ago. Ray Hunt was with me at that scene by a guy who's out on a low bond for murder. So for the people that think that's okay, I'm here to tell you it's not. And I will speak on this issue until I still have, as long as I have breath in my lungs, because that's wrong. Let me end with this. So these guys carjack somebody at 6:50. Good morning. What a way to start your day, your work day, with some fool putting a gun in your head, right? And come to find out, guess what happened between 6:50 a.m. and 2:58 p.m. when we spotted that carjacking suspect? Anybody venture to guess? At about 2:30 p.m., guess what we found out? They committed another aggravated robbery of an individual. Another individual in the city of Houston that was terrorized today because we think it's okay to give deferred adjudication to armed robbers. And life's about common sense and good judgment. And the good Lord says, help yourself and I will help you. Well, we need to help ourselves. And we help ourselves by holding people accountable. So if you want to do all this low-level misdemeanor stuff, I'm not going to fight you too much. But you start messing with giving slaps on the wrist to violent criminals, I've got a problem. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm community members right here. This is our community. So with that, I'm going to open up to any questions. Again, I'm just grateful that nobody was killed today, including the suspect.
Does he have a criminal history?
Okay, you cannot be on deferred adjudication for armed robbery unless you've been convicted of armed robbery.
I mean, usually you get that when you don't have like a criminal history and they're sort of.
Oh, no, not in this county. You need to start paying attention.
So this guy had a criminal history and got deferred adjudication anyway.
Okay, let's just talk about that. Let me just tell you something. We're good, but we're not that good. If we catch you and convict you of armed robbery, what are the chances that the only time you've committed an armed robbery is the one we caught you for? Lightning ain't going to strike the first time you go outside in the park, is it? So even if it's his first time, if you're committing armed robbery, if you got somebody rob you at gunpoint, do you want them to get deferred adjudication?
So you're saying anybody that commits a violent crime should not get deferred adjudication?
Oh, not in my book.
Chief, real quick, the items that are on the parking lot, there was a gun.
That's the suspect's gun.
And was there a knife involved?
I don't know about the knife. That's the suspect's gun. Yes, it does. Well, we don't know if it's his. We don't know if it's stolen. We haven't processed the gun yet. But it's the gun that he used to terrorize at least our officers, the people here, probably the gun that he probably used once we do the investigation for that armed robbery earlier today.
Chief, in regards to the other location, was another car involved? Did they actually hit somebody?
No, my understanding right now, the information I have preliminarily is that they ran into the curb and flattened their tires of the victim's vehicle, the complainant's vehicle from this morning.
Chief, what is it about this case that's got you so amped up?
Because this is not an isolated incident. This isn't isolated. Do you remember when our lieutenant had to shoot that guy the other last year? Was it about a year ago? And I said I made a prediction then. Do y'all remember that? There was going to be a guy with a violent criminal history. Did I not say that we killed when that guy was out there terrorizing people? What did that guy? What was his history? This is the summer is beginning here. It is hot. People act the fool even more in the summer, and people shouldn't be able to go summer by summer, year by year, getting slaps on the wrist, robbing people, terrorizing people. I want you to imagine how many of you have teenage kids that are out here right now working this summer in these restaurants. Those poor kids trying to make a living, right, to teach them responsibility, and these fools are running in there with guns.
What can be done to stop people from getting deferred adjudication when they commit?
Well, I think that the community needs to speak up. The community needs to speak up. Somebody's yelling he had 7 priors. I don't know. One is one too many.
But I mean, what you're saying is, even if it's the first time, if you commit an armed robbery, you should not get deferred adjudication.
Absolutely. And let me tell you the other thing that happens to witnesses, okay? Because we need the greatest force multiplier that we have as police officers is the community itself. And if you live in a high crime area, an area with high criminal activity, gang activity, and you know that gangster, that criminal is going to get a slap on the wrist, it's going to go in one door and out the other door on a PR bond, on a low bond, or it's going to get one of these, what are the likelihoods you're going to cooperate with the police? I want you to think about that. People do assessments, they're risk assessments. I think it has a chilling effect. Actually, I know it has a chilling effect when people don't believe that these guys are going to be held accountable.
Who should people that are upset about this, who should they contact?
They need to start calling the DA's office and the criminal court judges. And I don't know about you all, but we're going to start talking about this, and we're not going to stop talking about it, because we are here first and foremost for victims.
But one argument like that maybe a judge of the DA's office would make is that if you violate your probation when you're on deferred adjudication, you face the maximum sentence.
Oh yeah, do you want me to start giving you samples of that stuff too? We can give you that samples too. Anything else before I do a little Spanish? We can give you samples. We can give you samples of convicted felons with violent histories, carrying guns. They ain't carrying them for looks, and what do they get? What do they get? Nothing.
Why give these people a second chance, right?
Yeah, they can take a second chance once they pay their price. And paying the price ain't deferred adjudication. I mean, let me tell you something. Crooks, they're no different than any other business people. Sometimes they'll do risk gain analysis, and we don't want to make ourselves an easy target. Okay, anything in Spanish real quick? Vamos a hablar español. Esta mañana, como a las 6:50 de la mañana, tuvimos un asalto, un robo de un automóvil con pistola. Nuestros oficiales aquí en esta área empezaron inmediatamente a buscar ese automóvil. Saben que en los últimos 2 o 3 días han visto mucho robo de automóviles a punto de arma de fuego, y como a las 12:58 p.m. nuestros oficiales vieron que el automóvil, que era un Honda negro, lo encontraron aquí en la área. Enseguida mandaron a traer patrullas marcadas y una persecución ocurrió de como 2 a 3 minutos. Después de 2 o 3 minutos, el vehículo de sospechoso chocó aquí en la vecinal 59. El chofer salió y inmediatamente, by the way, the driver was also armed, which I think I already said. El chofer salió, el pasajero salió, 2 afroamericanos como 23 años. Inmediatamente arrestaron el chofer sin incidente. El chofer estaba armado, pero cooperó y hizo caso a los oficiales. Al cabo de unos cuantos minutos, un agente del ATF con un oficial de nosotros vio que el segundo sospechoso, que estaba armado, estaba tratando de asaltar a una señora que estaba aquí en el drive-thru del Burger King con sus 2 hijas de 15 años sentadas atrás. El sospechoso afroamericano de como 23 años abrió la puerta, le puso la pistola a mamá y le dijo: sálganse de aquí. La mamá, con mucho temor que iba a pasar algo a sus hijas, tomó su tiempo para estar segura que sus hijas pudieron salir. El sospechoso, cuando estaba tratando de asaltarla, el agente del ATF y unos de los oficiales lo vieron, le dieron orden de que tirara la pistola, que no hizo caso, le dispararon varios tiros. El sospechoso inmediatamente entró al Burger King y le caímos atrás. Mis oficiales son héroes, le cayeron atrás. Cuando salió el sospechoso aquí a este lado, salió la puerta de atrás del Burger King, y otro oficial que estaba aquí en atrás, cuando vio que estaba mirándose contra él con un arma de fuego, disparó y le pegó al sospechoso. Estoy orgulloso que nuestros oficiales inmediatamente empezaron a darle auxilio médico al sospechoso. Uno de los que disparó, inmediatamente le puso un tourniquet en el muslo. Todavía tiene la sangre del sospechoso en sus manos, lo vi ahorita. Los 3 oficiales que dispararon, los 2 de nosotros, tenían sus cámaras puestas, y el oficial del gobierno federal no tienen cámaras. Estoy enojado porque no podemos dejarnos que este sistema de justicia en el condado de Harris, tenemos un sospechoso de 23 años, le dieron 3 años de deferred adjudication, que no sé cómo decirlo en español, lo que dice que no le hicieron nada. Por asalto, por robar, asalto, no le hicieron nada. Y media hora antes que nos encontramos aquí, les empezamos a caer atrás, asaltaron a otro señor. No podemos permitir en una ciudad con tan poco policía, tantos pandilleros, tanto crimen, que los jueces o la fiscal haga estas cosas. Tenemos que mantener la seguridad pública y tenemos que hacer nuestra parte, toda la justicia. Mientras que yo sea jefe, no voy a parar de hablar.
¿Cuál es la solución?
La solución es que tenemos que llamar a los jueces, la comunidad, tienen que llamar a la señora que es que está aquí en el condado, y tenemos que demandar que lleven a cuenta a los sospechosos violentos.
Hay un residente que está aquí que me ha dicho que él sabe que aquí siempre hay mucha policía. Dice: yo estoy bien agradecido con la policía porque aquí siempre hay muchos policías. Es el dueño de la llantera que está aquí.
Sí.
Pero Esmeralda me dice: no es suficiente. Dice: aquí siempre pasan cosas.
No es suficiente porque se lo estamos arrestando por actos violentos, con violencia, no lo tienen llevando a cuenta. Aquí tenemos estas personas que estaban terrorizadas hoy por un sospechoso que debe estar en la prisión, no debe estar aquí. Think about that.
What's the guy's name?
Oh, I don't have that. I'm not going to release it yet.
¿Cómo está
Now
la
here-
We got to wait. He's been shot and stuff, so I want to make sure. I want to be sensitive to his family, make sure that they're aware before we release his name. We should release his name later on today.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, guys. Okay.
¿Cuál es la condición del oficial y la
Los
condición
oficiales,
de la
gracias a Dios, están bien, y el sospechoso lo mandaron al hospital, los bomberos, y están a seguridad.
la madre con sus hijas?
Están bien adoloridas, asustadas, pero están agradecidas que los héroes de la policía del departamento de Houston y nuestro colega del nivel federal del ATF pudieron tomar acción. Ok, thanks everybody.
La gente tiene miedo de hablar, testigos.
No tengan miedo de hablar. Mire, debo decirle algo. Acuérdese que si usted es testigo, no nos importa si está legal o ilegal. En uno de esos casos de la muchacha que mataron, Uno de los testigos es una persona indocumentada y nosotros hemos hecho el trabajo para que puedan mantenerse aquí legalmente con una visa. Así que no tenga temor, aquí estamos a sus órdenes.
Pero dices cuando los dejan salir.
Ah, si lo dejan salir, claro, la persona tiene temor, pero acuérdese que nosotros estamos aquí para pelear y para proteger y vamos a luchar para nuestra comunidad. Gracias.